Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Cubs on Tap. I'm your host tonight, Joey Ricotta, joined by my good buddy, my good friend, Tyler at Teddy Freddy 270. It's late. Cubs on Tap after dark. I'm pretty much shot. I'm exhausted. But we've got the beer. Look, little holiday cheer. Crack 'em. Little holiday crack 'em going on. Get that out of the way. Yeah, man, I'm excited to be here. We haven't talked Cubs for a minute. Tyler, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. I froze my balls off for the past 24 hours, but other than that, man, I'm good. And like you said, it's never too late for a beer. It's that time of year. Yeah, man, I'm excited to talk to you, dude. It's been a while. A lot of things have happened since we last talked.
A lot has happened, man. I'm excited to talk to you as well. You got Jake already in the comments here, our boy with the Dingers podcast, they are now with On Tap Sportsnet and doing great work, pumping out the shows over there. I was tuning in the other night. We've tuned in quite a bit. I've already, before they were even with us. So it's awesome, man, what they got going.
They do great stuff over there. Give them a follow. Give them go give them a listen every time they're on, man. They, like you said, they do great stuff.
Love absolutely. Yeah, Blake here. Hey, what's up, buddy? Before we get started, Tyler, want to let the listeners know we are sponsored by OnTapSportsNet.com. Go ahead and go there for all your Chicago sports wants, needs, etc. We got Bears on tap, Bulls on tap. I think the Bulls guys are live right now as well. I kind of hate going live when the other shows are going live, but just kind of worked out that way. Me and you were talking a little bit beforehand and cracking them beforehand, talking about, whatever. Actually, we could have done like two shows tonight because we were talking Cubs for a while beforehand. Usually we have like juice.
We do this every time, man.
Like usually we can. We could do it every time. Usually we have like juice that like lays down the law, and he's like, all right, push the button. Let's go. Push the button.
Yeah.
We're going. And we didn't have it.
We just need to start like every time me and you do one, just the second we get on, just hit the freaking record button and just go and just see what happens. Cause we do it, man. And it's like every conversation we have, it's not just random bullshit. It's like like you said, we're talking Cubs baseball, and then we start at one spot and we just snowball from there. And it's great though. I enjoy them though. Every time I get on here, I'm like, damn, it's already been 45 minutes and we haven't started, but we're freaking just having a good conversation.
That's why I love it, man. That's why I love it. I love doing the show. I love doing it with all you guys. I love talking Cubs baseball. That's why we are doing this. It's not because we want to be like, be all seen and we're like the experts and blah blah blah. I mean, I think we all sit here and feel like we know what we're talking about, but it's like we have a passion for this. It's the love of the game. It's the love of the Cubs, and we want them to do well. And we're sitting here like fiending throughout the offseason. We got Ron, our boy Ron Luce. He's on vacation right now, so he's with family and stuff. He's a little bit better weather, I think, but maybe not as good. I think it's cold pretty much everywhere. But Ron here says in the comments, Swanson, Barnhart, Smiley 2.0, guys. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Tyler, what do you say we get on into it? Actually, the meat and potatoes. What do you think about some of these moves, man? Where do you even want to start? Like we haven't had a chance to talk Swanson.
I would say we got to start with Swanson, right? Dude, yeah. I was driving. I was actually on my way to a Christmas party with my wife, and I got the notification on my phone. And I'll be honest, like I was shocked. I'll be the first one to say it. Like
I'm breaking stuff over here. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was shocked. Like I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting it. I'm glad we got. I tweeted right after it happened. A couple hours later, I was like, you know what? The Cubs got better, and that's a good thing. Was it the big flashy superstar? No, but Dansby Swanson's a hell of a ball player, and that guy has been he's been playing under the pressure since college. I mean, the Vanderbilt boy, and if anybody knows anything about Vanderbilt baseball, Vanderbilt is no joke. Like Vanderbilt has high expectations every year. Vanderbilt produces quality players every single year, from David Price to I'm sure people are yelling at the screen right now. It's like I think maybe Carson Fulmer, and I mean they're a quality. So like just from since college, maybe even before that, like that dude knows like he's been in the spotlight. Number 1 draft pick, World Series, been in the playoffs multiple times. Last year, former Gold Glove winner. Like, dude is going to be a hell of a guy, man. And I'll be honest, I'll be the first one to say, yeah, I was on the Carlos Correa train, but hey, I'm not a Giants fan right now, right?
Yikes.
But yikes! But no, man, Swanson's gonna be a dude for us, and I'm excited. People can say whatever the hell they want about, oh, his arm's not very strong. The dude just won the Gold Glove. And with that being said, not only that, but now Nico Horner probably rolls over to second base. And I'll say it right now, we've got the best freaking second baseman in all of baseball.
Damn right.
It's not an opinion. It's not a prediction. That's a damn spoiler. Nico Horner, best second baseman in baseball. Man, I can't wait to see them two. I can't wait to see them two play up the middle. It's going to be fun to watch the Cubs play defense in 2023.
Dude, I'm going to love this so much. I am going to love this so much. I mean, I sat here, I think maybe it was you. We did a show with Ron, I think a little while ago. Mm-hmm. And you might have had to drop off a little bit after the show, but this was post-show, recording the show, whatever. And me and Ron sat here. And you might have been a part of that conversation for a little bit. We sat here for like an hour. And I told him all the reasons why Dansby would not be a bad signing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I kind of talked him into it. And he was already kind of like, yeah, maybe. And then we kind of started talking a little bit more. And all of a sudden, by the end of us talking together, he's like, I remember this. We got hyped on Dansby, Ron saying, yeah, dude, because like there's a lot to like about Dansby. First of all, his defense, but like you mentioned a lot of the points, right? Like his leadership qualities, his winning experience.
Yeah,
the guy wants to play all 162. We talked about it,
and he's shown it the past like 2 years, right?
It's not even.
How many games has he missed in the last 2 seasons? Like 3.
He doesn't miss 2. I think it's 2 games. 2 games out of the last 3 seasons.
Stupid.
I think. It's wild, dude. Nobody else is doing that. Correa misses games. Correa's actually had a pretty lengthy track record of getting hurt, right? Like, Turner is a guy that stays out there most of the time, but he's had injuries as well too in his career, and most guys do. Like, it's not a complete knock on these guys for getting hurt, right?
It happens.
But at the same time, you kind of wonder, like the Giants, maybe they had like a little buyer's remorse, right?
Maybe.
Like, and they didn't want to pass the physical or whatever the situation.
And real quick, on that, for everybody that's knocking the Giants, not to turn this into a Giants podcast, they didn't have some schmo, conduct Correa's physical. You know what I mean? Like, they must have saw something, rather serious. I know, it's an injury that happened back when he was in the minors and blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe they saw something just like, I don't know, just a big giant red flag that just said, yeah, we're not, and props to the Mets, props to Cohen as far as what he's doing with the Mets and everything. Props to him. Good for him. I'd like to see a lot of other owners do that, but who knows? Maybe this move, and this would be a Mets thing. This would definitely be a way that the Mets are Mets things up. That's what I like to say. Like, it wouldn't shock me, not to jinx them. It wouldn't shock me if this move turned around and bit him in the foot. But like, you can't knock the Giants. I know it sucks. I know they're pissed off. I'd be pissed too if I was a Giants fan right now. Like, you swung and missed on Arson Judge, and then here's what happens with Correa. But they had to have seen something, and I know they're not allowed to say exactly what. I'm sure eventually down the road we'll hear it, but like, they had to have seen something serious for them not to do that.
Yeah, I really don't know. I thought I heard something about like a long time ago with a fibula issue.
some kind of issue with his leg or something.
And he's also had back issues too. Like, he's had, a few different things here. So who really knows, like, what the exact thing is with Correa. But at the same time, I'm not mad at this signing. Like, you got a guy here in Dansby Swanson for basically a fraction of the years that it was to get any of these other guys. And yeah, of course, 25, what is it, 25 mil, a little bit over that.
Roughly 25, yeah.
AAV wise. But like, if that's what it costs for a 7-year deal, we kind of saw the way the market was going, right? Like, it was going to be a little bit higher this year.
Oh, yeah. The market's completely changed. Like, after this, this offseason has shown that down the road, like moving forward, the market's completely different, at least for the next several years.
Yeah. And like, I have no issues with this because
I don't either.
It's going to allow the Cubs to do so much more, as like Ron and Juice and a lot of the guys at Dingers like have kind of pointed out. Like, it's going to allow the Cubs to do so much more in future years.
Yeah.
You're going to have to build around as far as bats go. Like, we still need bats right now. And Unknown X Pro here in the comments kind of talks about Conforto here. Took Conforto from us. Shake my head. I mean, we could start right there a little bit before. I kind of still want to talk a little bit about Dansby, but
me too. I've got
But Conforto, I just want to mention real fast because like he was a guy that I think a lot of people were wanting us to get because he's that left-handed potential power bat. And we'll get into him in a second. But Swanson, dude, I think there is a lot that's untapped with him. I really, really do. Like, he mentioned it even in his press conference. And first of all, if you missed the press conference, go back and watch, because there's a lot of times, and people say this a lot, makes me want to run through a wall.
Yeah, go back. If you don't watch the whole thing, at least read Ron's article on Cubs on Tap.
Oh, yeah.
He summarizes it very well.
Good plug. And no question, dude. Like, this dude, he talked about his grandpa. He talked about
and who can't relate to that, with whether it's a grandpa or a dad, man. You watch that and it's just like, God, you're going to get me to start crying too, man. Shit.
You know where I watched the Kerry Wood 20 strikeout game? I watched it at my grandpa's, my no-no's house.
Yeah.
With him. And it was incredible. And
everybody can relate to that.
Yeah. Like, that's his second favorite team. What are we doing? We're Braves fans over here. Why are you a Cubs fan?
But you know how it was back in the day?
WGN all the time.
Exactly. Everybody either watched the Braves or the Cubs or the White Sox, because you had TBS and WGN. So everybody can sit there and relate to, at least in our area, in our side of the country or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, just like a lot of places, like a lot of people, we were watching TBS. I was watching Braves games around here
all the time.
Like when the Cubs weren't playing, or even when they were, I'd flip back and forth between innings and stuff. And some of my good friends around here are Braves fans. And, that's kind of just how we grew up, was like, those were the teams that you could watch all the time, was Cubs, White Sox, Braves. Like, those are the teams that were pretty much on in your area, at least around the Chicagoland area. And really the Cubs and the Braves were just pretty much everywhere. But yeah, man, like, it's just cool to hear that story, So go back and watch that press conference, because he obviously talks about him hitting ground balls and stuff. And he talked about wanting to be in Chicago, and the fact that Mallory Pugh, his just recently got married to his new wife, didn't really even have to nudge him. Absolutely, congratulations. Didn't really have to nudge him too much to come to Chicago, which, I mean, we know it probably played a pretty decent factor. But he seems like a guy that, hey, I want to go where I can win. Like, he did his due diligence on the Chicago Cubs. And to me, that's really damn cool. Like, he wants to be somewhere where they really have a realistic chance. And, obviously had a great conversation with Carter Hawkins. I think Hawkins talking about Vanderbilt. I think his brother, he was talking about his brother playing baseball with Carter Hawkins or something. I want to say that's what he said. Something like that in the press conference, unless I misheard that, but definitely a connection there with Carter Hawkins and the Vanderbilt thing. So that was cool. But yeah, man, I walked away listening to that, just super impressed by the man, Dansby Swanson, let alone just the player, and like being excited about him playing.
Oh yeah. You listen to that, and he's a guy easily that you're going to want to root for. Yeah. And I'm sure there's diehard Braves fans out there that might think, we've been around him longer and blah, blah, blah. But just from a Cubs fan perspective, he's I have no reason not to root for him right now. I have no reason to be behind him, and just root for the guy to do well. With that being said, I agree. I think there's a lot of unlocked potential for him. I think there's potential for him to even be better offensively. But with that being said, he has had his moments in the past where he's had slow starts. But I just want to express and say to Cubs fans right now, like, don't be that guy at the very beginning, come after the first 2 months and look at Dansby and be like, oh man, this guy sucks. He can't hit, blah, blah, blah.
We should have got Correa.
You can't tell me though. Here's the thing though. I'm sure most Cubs hitters would agree. And this is coming from a guy that doesn't even live in Chicago, doesn't even live in Illinois. April and May in Chicago sucks to hit in. It absolutely sucks. So don't get down. Don't get upset and pissed off and call for Dansby's head when he's batting roughly a little over 200. Give him time. Yeah, if you look at his number, he's a little streaky. Like I said, like last year, first 2 months of the season wasn't very good, but then he turned it around. Not to say that, maybe he doesn't hit 30 home runs this year, but here's the thing. Here's the difference between Dansby and other players. Yeah, he may bounce around. He may hover around the 220, 250 mark, whatever, as far as his batting average and everything like that. One thing you can almost bank and guarantee is no matter what, he's going to play solid defense at shortstop.
Yep.
And so if he can do that for the first 2 months, because like I said, it's gonna suck. He's going from Atlanta to Chicago. It's gonna be cold as balls. It sucks for a hitter. Anybody that's ever played, even if it's high school, college, whatever. It doesn't. They asked
Bellinger. They asked Bellinger about that too,
and it'll probably be because you're talking about a guy with him that's played in LA his whole career. Like it's gonna be a shock. It's gonna be a shock to his body, everything. And anybody that's ever played ball knows it sucks trying to hit when it's cold. So don't get all upset and pissed off when he hasn't hit, 10 home runs in the first 2 months and he's not batting 300 or over 300 or anything like that. It's going to come around. And like I said, you've got a guy like a solid defender at shortstop. Like if he can hover around a 230, 240 batting average for the first 2 months, I'm fine with that because I know that his glove's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the high floor part that you're getting with Swanson, right? Like, I feel good enough with his defense and how good it's going to be between him and Nico and just the whole up the middle double play tandem that they're going to have this next year and for years to come. I feel good enough about that where when his bat is struggling, I'm not too worried about it because he is, like you said, that's the one part of the Javi bias, and holy crap, we just got spammed by somebody. What the heck is this? Yeah, well, I don't know what that is. Stars and all kinds of stuff in the comments. Peace and love.
I'm trying to read it upside down. I don't know.
But anyways, yeah. So as we continue on here, go ahead and get rid of that. I think, dude, this is going to be something that now – if he struggles, I kind of put the thought out there on Twitter just because it was kind of in the moment. I was a little frustrated when we didn't get any of the top three for the time being because I was
too. I'll go out and say it. I was too. You're not the only one. Yeah, I was upset too.
I was genuinely just more so for me, Tyler, I was genuinely scared that we were potentially going to whiff. And it wasn't that I didn't have faith in Jed Hoyer and his process. I was just like, now there's teams that are desperate.
Yeah.
So if he's your target, and I understand the whole marriage thing and the honeymoon and, all that with Dansby. So it makes sense. Like even looking back on it now, I can sit here and say, hey, I was caught up in the moment when I kind of was like, even when I was scared. But I do think that this was definitely a positive, like a good decision. It's just you need to find those high on base percentage guys. The thing with me with Dansby though he's aware of where he struggles. Like he
yeah.
struggles with the end zone whiffs. He talked about that in his presser. He struggles with getting on base and then the strikeouts a little bit, but it's not like he hasn't had seasons where he has cut down on strikeouts and he has walked at a decent clip. Like he's had a season where he walked at a 10.7% walk rate and strikeout rate like around 21%. Like he doesn't chase much. He doesn't chase out of the zone. The strikeouts really come from inside the zone, or at least the whiffs come from inside the zone. So for me, I think there's a little bit something more untapped there, and he knows what he needs to work on. Hey, maybe you get something in the zone. You can rely a little bit more on just your natural strength. You don't need to be trying to crack them out all the time. No. You can hit him out of Wrigley, because if you look at his spray chart, you look at his hit chart and his expected home runs and all that, what expected for 33 home runs last season at Wrigley Field, like that's a guy that he probably doesn't need to do too much to even be close to that 30 range, that 25 home run range, at least at Wrigley, which we know how the wind plays a factor, wind blowing in. It's probably not really 33 expected home runs because the wind does blow in a lot. But I don't know, man. I'm very excited with this signing. They do have to do more. Like there's absolutely, we're going to get into it. But
they do. And to be honest, like just going off with what you said, looking at his contract, it doesn't seem like this was a desperate move by us as far as like throw it out there. Like, I'll be honest, I would have been shocked. Like I think I said it 2 or 3 episodes ago. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I was on the, I said who I was, interested in as far as the 4, but like I wouldn't have been surprised if we didn't get any of them. And I think you could almost make an argument that it wouldn't have I can understand in Swanson's situation to not choose us because he was the last one. And there were so many reports out there saying like, Swanson is the front runner for the Cubs if the Cubs don't sign Correa. And
how does that make Swanson,
you feel? Exactly. It's like, oh, so I'm your sloppy second. Oh, wait a minute. I'm your sloppy 4th because you had the other 3 guys there. And it's like, what am I to you? Oh, I'm just your backup to your backup to your backup. Like, screw you. I ain't going to you guys. Like, so I wouldn't have been shocked if they didn't sign him because of that reason. But just looking at the contract, it doesn't seem like it was a desperate move by us to be like, oh, hey, we've got to get, which I agree with a lot of people saying that if we didn't get one of the 4, it would be a major fail and major screw up by us. But just looking at the contract, it doesn't seem like it was a desperate move by us. And at his age and at those years, and with what we got potentially coming in the minors, maybe eventually he can move to a third base, or if Nico moves over and Swanson moves to second base or whatever, like that can happen later in his career. It's not like one of those things where he's stuck here. And then like when he gets to be 34, 35, we're just like, shit, what are we going to do with Dansby Swanson now? Like
there might be more options then. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have to worry about that because he's going to have a lot of options, and who knows, maybe he even moves somewhere else. Maybe whatever, maybe he goes to left or right or I don't know. But like, I think there's just a lot of options for him.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited, dude. Like I said, I think, where the Cubs system is, and this has gotten talked about quite a bit, I think, too. But I think it's definitely worth bringing up again. Where the Cubs system is, they're really lacking with the infielders, the immediate presence of like top impact prospects coming soon, right? As far as on the infield goes. So, you're waiting for a Kevin Mate or a Christian Hernandez or
Ed Howard,
and Ed Howard, who's dealt with injuries, right? So you can't really rely on those things as far as shortstop and second base potentially goes. And maybe Christian Hernandez winds up as like a third baseman with like the power that he could present or whatever. But you cross that bridge when you get there.
Oh yeah.
And Dansby for right now,
he's the best option. Yeah.
And in the immediate future, yeah, he's the best option. We're going to be locked in for 7 years. I got to get a Dansby jersey. I
can only imagine how many jerseys Ron has pre-ordered already. Like, I'm sure he's probably ordered one of each kind you can get.
Oh, Ron's got he's got a jersey at least. He's probably got one the alternative jersey. He's got
he's got them all.
Yeah, dude, he had a Rafael Ortega jersey. You know he's getting a Dansby Swanson jersey.
Oh yeah,
that's happening.
totally.
That's happening. I hope he jumps back in the comments just to give me shit for bringing that up. But yeah, man. No, what do you say we move on here? Dansby, we know it's a great signing. Well, we hope it's going to be a great signing when it's all said and done. We think it's going to be anyways. Definitely like where it's trending and love all the things that he had to say. Love the dude himself. Like, he just seems like a good dude. So welcome to Chicago, Dansby Swanson. Some of the other topics, though. Do you want to jump into the Conforto stuff now? He signed with the Giants.
Yeah, sure.
Like, 18 per year, 2 years, 2-year contract. I think he has an opt-out after the first year. So that was a guy that a lot of people wanted to see in Chicago. Left-handed bat, pretty good thump, on base percentage, but he hasn't played for an entire year. He didn't play last year. He had surgery. He had a 100 OPS plus the last time he did play in 2021.
He's had some good seasons, and I'll agree with a lot of fans. And like me and you were talking about, like, we need a left-handed bat. I don't think it's the end of the world if we don't get a left-handed bat, but I'd really like a left-handed bat, a productive one. Conforto, he's been linked numerous times, and a lot of it was John Heyman, he's credible.
Pushing prices up.
Yeah,
he's still got some credible.
He is, but Conforto, I wouldn't have been upset had we signed Conforto, but looking at the contract that he did sign at $18 million, I know a lot of people say, well, we just signed Bellinger for $18 million. Yeah, but the difference between signing Conforto and Bellinger is kind of in the similar sense with Swanson, and what we talked about before was, the glove's going to be there with Bellinger, and he plays the premier spot in center field, whereas Conforto, he's only going to play you left and right. Yeah, he's played a handful of games at center, but coming back off an injury, he's probably not going to play center field anymore. And when we got guys like Ian Happ and Seiya Suzuki playing our corners, you're looking at, taking away playing time from either one of them. And who's to say that he doesn't put up the same numbers as what he did prior to his injury? I'm sure he's 100% now, or else, he wouldn't have got the contract he did, especially after looking at, the situation with Correa and the physical and all that. I'm sure physically he's probably fine, but like at that price, it's just it's too big of a risk, at least for me and my, just looking at it from my point of view. Like, it would be nice to have him because you could throw him into DH and everything like that, but it's too much of a risk, I feel like, especially with just coming off an injury, man.
It's scary, right? I was like totally on board with the Conforto stuff when it was being discussed.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Conforto. You want that left-handed bat. You need the power. The Cubs have talked about openly how they want more left-handed slug, just want more left-handed hitters in general. Like, they're pretty light on the left-handed side.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Cody Bellinger was brought in. That's why Tucker Barnhart can hit from the left side. I mean, he's not a great hitter, but that was more for defensive purposes. We'll talk about that, though. Yeah. But Matt Mervis, like, we're hoping for big things this year from Matt Mervis. But Mash, we don't know yet, though. He's going to be a rookie when he gets in there. So you would like a proven vet, a guy that's done it in the league, a guy that you feel comfortable with getting tossed in there and being able to do it. But the problem is like with Conforto, like you said, you're not really sure which Conforto you're going to get after an entire season off. He wasn't his greatest in 2021. Can he get back to that level where he was from 2020 and before that? Absolutely. I think he will. But you're talking about him probably playing DH more than anything. He's not going to be playing left, center, or right as much. He'd probably filter in, but like Happ's a Gold Glover out and left. Bellinger's a Gold Glover in center. Yeah. Seiya's pretty decent. You want him to play right field. Obviously, like, he's won Gold Gloves in Japan. Like, he should be even better out there in right field, especially after a pretty much a full season, first year here in the majors. Like, Conforto would be locking up your DH spot for this season And if he's not good enough to be able to opt out for more money after this year, he's going to be locked up next year. And if you want to extend Ian Happ, or even like, let's say Bellinger takes off, right? Bellinger takes off, has a great season. You're like, this is a perfect match made in heaven. Like, he's playing closer to his MVP level and Gold Glove defense. We're bringing him back another year, right? What are you doing at that point? Now you got your DH locked up again for $18 million when I don't care how much, and I'll just say it right now. I don't care what Tom Ricketts wants to spend. He can go over the luxury tax every season, do Steve Cohen, and I would love that. I would absolutely freaking love that. They've shown us nothing to tell us that they will do that every season. Like, they're not doing that every season. And so you kind of have to look at it from like, what perspective are they looking at it? And I just don't see them. This offseason to me is an offseason where you can go over the luxury tax and then come back down from the luxury tax with money coming off the books next year, and then go back up over the luxury tax in 2025.
Yep.
I know I'm kind of like skipping like steps here. Like I'm trying to put my head in their head, which is impossible because I have no idea what they're thinking. I have no idea what the budget is. Maybe they really don't have a budget at this point. But I don't know, man. I don't really like the DH spot getting locked up for $18 million.
Exactly. And at that price, okay, you got in kind of what you said, like hopefully Seiya plays as much as he can next year. Happ's going to want to play as many games as he possibly can in a contract year. I look at it like this way for Happ. Like, Happ had his career year last year. And I'm sure Happ understands, look, I kind of look at it in the similar situation as if like a rookie has an amazing season, because you see a rookie play that well, and then you're like, well, his prove it to me year is his sophomore year. In a sense, in a way, this is Happ's sophomore year. Like, he went off last year. He's in a contract year this year.
True.
So in a way, people are probably looking at it as like, okay, Ian, because in the past, I'll be one of the first ones to say I've been on that wagon that's like been like, God, Ian Happ is such a streaky, slow starter, blah, blah, blah. Hasn't ever been able to put 162 games, hasn't been able to put a full season together. And then last year he does it. So in his sense, in his point of view, he's like, look, I've got to do what I did last year and then some. So I'm playing every day I can. So, Conforto wouldn't take that spot away from him. And same way with Seiya, like, I want to see Seiya play as much as you're paying him, roughly $20 million a year or something like that? Or what was he making? Like,
his actual contract, his contract, I believe, is really close to like Tyone's for the next, I think it is like 4 years remaining.
You want to see, like, if he can stay healthy, because last year when he started off fairly well, like, as far as his plate discipline was, like, really impressive. So you want to see if he can improve that or bounce off that from last year. So, like you said, like, do you want to put $18 million for the next 2 years at your DH spot when we all know next offseason when we get and I hate even talking about this, like with the Cubs, like, we've got a budget, like, oh my gosh, we can't spend this much. We got to be careful when you see guys like Steve Cohen spend as much as they have. When you get Hayward's contract off the books next year. And so if you got that you get that off the books and you're not having to worry about paying $18 million to Conforto, maybe you take that money and spend it to a hot free agent next offseason. And so, yeah, like having Conforto as your DH, I don't really like it. So I'm not mad at the fact that we didn't sign Conforto. I wouldn't have minded if it was like a cheaper deal, but you see that price and you're like, okay, you guys can have him.
Yeah, because the prove it deal to me, like with Bellinger, we talked about Bellinger a little bit. The prove it deal with Bellinger, the thing that like made it so obvious to do it was because he gives you that spark defensively as well, the much needed center field defense.
He gives you that spark,
to play first base.
And he's proved it in the past that he can be that he can be that MVP caliber player. Conforto.
And Conforto's had really good seasons. I don't want to undersell that.
Yeah, not to diss Conforto. He's a solid player, but like imagine if we all know we're all based, you've seen it in the past. Like how many times has like there's been a lot of prove it to me deals work, and there's been a lot of prove it to me deals not work. And so basically you've got two prove it to me deals. If we did sign Conforto, you've got two prove it to me deals. What are the odds that they both work? It'd be nice, but if I had to pick one, obviously I'm picking Bellinger because in the past he's proved it with, he's won an MVP, he's won a Rookie of the Year, and if all else fails, the defense is going to be there.
The hard part about that though, Tyler, is now with all the free agents that have signed and are off the board now, you're almost looking at like prove it deals from here on out, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
You're
that's
right.
the hard
You're
part.
right.
And,
yeah.
But we're talking about like years to me matter even more than the money. Like at this point, like if it was 18 mil one season, sure, Conforto, great, absolutely. 2 years, I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah.
But like, and so that's when you kind of like balance these things. But like now with that said, the prove it deals to me that would probably make sense. We kind of talked about them a little bit before hopping on here. Some of the names that we discussed, we just like threw out there back and forth. Go ahead, list some of the guys that you were telling me, and then.
I know we've been linked to Eric Hosmer for a long time. We've been linked to Trey Mancini. We've been, I want to say Brandon Belt's available, Mike Moustakas, all those guys. You can make an argument, I guess, for all of them. You can make an argument for against all of them and more, Evan Longoria. I'm sure there's a couple of outfielders I'm missing, but like, I guess you could you could almost give a case to almost all of them as far as like why they would fit. But with all those guys, I don't see any of them getting more than a 2-year deal. I don't see any of them, either a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal with an option or something like that. I know, like I said, you could say something about each of them. Trey Mancini, he's been a solid hitter in the past. He can play first. He can play the corner spots. Eric Hosmer, a multi-time Gold Glove winner, a World Series champion, hasn't really he's been a solid hitter, but the last couple of seasons, like we said, he hasn't been that hot. But granted, he just got DFA'd, so he may not be super expensive. Moustakas, dude, he hit 30 home runs for Milwaukee and then went to Cincinnati. We thought, dude, he's going to go to Cincinnati and he's going to be their version of the Aristides dude that crushes.
Yeah, in that ballpark.
He's gonna crush in that little league ballpark they got in that crappy stadium. And then Brandon Belt. To be honest, I wasn't that sold on Brandon Belt. And then you gave me some good information on him as far as like, especially like one of his better seasons was just a year or two ago. So there's still a lot of guys out there that you could get in the same sense. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to sign them for more than a year or two.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like that's pretty much all the range that I kind of want to go right now. To the guys that are just on the free agent market.
Yeah, I was going to say you can talk. You could talk all day about trades. You can make it. Our boy Jake on the Dingers podcast. He had an interesting tweet about Yandy Diaz. Trading for him.
I like that idea.
I like it too. But yeah, you could pull up. You could pick probably somebody from just about any team and make a trade. But yeah, like from the free agent standpoint, I want to say that's about it.
Yeah, and and there's still two guys out there that like I kind of looked at before free agency, or I guess we were already in free agency, but two guys at the first base spot that I was like, I kind of like it. The problem is they hit from the right side because they made it known, they made it obvious, like Jed and the Cubs, they want to target a left-handed bat somewhere here. The problem is these guys hit from the right side, Trey Mancini and Luke Voit. Yep. Mancini might not give you as much power as Luke Voit, but Luke Voit will give you more strikeouts. Luke Voit is a little bit more volatile. He's kind of like what you said before the show. He's kind of like a Patrick Wisdom type in that sense, but he does have a ton of power. If you're trying to add power and quick strike offense, Luke Voigt will give you that. Like, and there's some other guys on the market
guy that
that
you
will
brought
too.
up, the other guy you brought up before the show, Sano. Miguel
Sano,
Sano.
another one. Same type
Yeah.
of deal, really. Same type of deal.
Which speaking of all that, like, is it a big deal? Like, I know a lot of rosters are this way. Is it a big deal to have a as far as a the left is the lefty right up thing, the lefty righty matchup, is that like a big deal to you? Is that like a big deal? You think that's going to be a big deal moving forward? Like, I get it. Like,
To me,
the games have changed. Like, I'll say, just kind of being like that guy. I don't want to say, oh, I'm an old school or whatever, but like, I like to see a more balanced lineup as far as lefties and righties. But I don't know if it's the end of the world if we don't. But
I don't know if it's the end of the world, but I definitely do like the balance.
yeah.
I will say I would prefer the balance. Like,
Yeah.
it's better to have it than not, because then you can kind of work your way through. It's tougher for the other team to react in game, especially where, yes, they're not pulling guys out after one batter to face the other side. So it's not necessarily like, 2 in a row isn't going to hurt you anyways from one side of the plate most of the time. But like, I would just prefer to have the balance. But at the same time, most right-handed hitters, they are supposed to be able to hit right-handed pitching. Like, if you're a good right-handed hitter in the league, you're probably supposed to be pretty good at hitting right-handed pitching, because you've faced right-handed pitching your entire career more than you faced lefties.
Oh yeah.
That's just the fact. Like, can't tell you how many lefties I faced, Tyler, as like a kid growing up. Like, there weren't that many of them. Like, I can tell you I could probably name exactly which ones I did face, because there weren't that many of them. You just faced righties. Like, you were supposed to be good at facing righties. Now it's different. You're at the major league level. You got guys throwing nasty freaking breaking balls that's breaking away from you with the high cheese. Like, it's totally different than a breaking ball coming into you. That's really the biggest, I would say, advantage facing the other side, is like the breaking ball more than anything. But just the stuff that these guys throw nowadays, it's like, it's tough to hit any side. Like, if you're a right or a lefty facing a righty, even, like, it's tough. I do want more balance. But I don't think it's end all be all, at least for this off season, because I think right now what you're looking for, and I would prefer to have somebody that's a really high on base guy at this point, because I do think they need a little bit more on base. Like, I
think they need more on base,
and power too. But
power would be great, and a veteran guy would be great too. You know what I mean? Like, we're not to say we've got veterans on the team, but I still feel like we're missing another guy maybe in the clubhouse that people can go to, as far as just some guy that's had, a lot of veteran experience, a lot of years under his belt. And the guys that are available,
good ones.
Yeah, so the guys that are available all have that. I'll be honest, I was on the Matt Carpenter train. I know a lot of fans don't like that, just because of where he came from, the last two teams he's played for, and I won't give those two fan bases, I'm not going to say them on this show right now, just because I don't want to give them that kind of benefit. But
you can say it. You can say fuck.
I was on the Matt Carpenter train, but with him being gone, I agree. We need more on base stuff. We need another on base guy. We need another power guy. Just a guy that can cut down on the strikeouts.
Yeah. I mean, the tough part is right now, what I see from a lot of the on base guys that are remaining, not all of them, but a lot of them don't hit for a ton of power.
No.
At least that's the way it seems. Like,
either they don't hit for a ton of power, or they did in the past, but here lately they've been kind of just
Exactly. And I mean, we kind of talked about Evan Longoria too, but yeah, I would like to see them try to get a left-handed hitter somewhere. It's just Alfonso Rivas got DFA today. Maybe they try to sneak him to AAA, but maybe. I didn't really see him making the roster anyways.
didn't
The
realize, to
opening
be
day.
honest, when I didn't realize he only hit 4 home runs his whole major.
No, wasn't a power guy.
He's not.
Not
He's
yet.
not much of a guy. And something I know not to. Still speaking of first baseman and left-handed guys and stuff like that. It's like we were talking about the show. Imagine what Cubs Twitter would be like right now if Anthony Rizzo was still a free agent.
Dude, it would be obsessive
right now.
Obsessive tweets. Obsessive.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think
I would love it. That's a perfect fit. That's what we need.
I would love it too. I think it'd be great. But just imagine, which I don't think Rizzo was going to go anywhere other than New York this offseason, but just like imagine had he not re-signed with New York when he did, and imagine if he was still a free agent, and then let's just say tomorrow he signed with the Yankees. Just imagine like the dumpster fire on Twitter of just like, I don't know. I can only imagine what it would be, but like, yeah, I agree. It would be it'd be an awesome fit right now, but it's not possible now, but
and it's not necessarily living in the past either. Cause when you bring that up, I know where your head is at with the whole thing. It's because we're so far past that here on this show in particular. We're past the whole, and I don't want to make it seem like we don't love and appreciate, and we're not past the World Series. We're not over like we love
quality at bats. It's not us being homers. It's not us just being
left-handed guy with thump, and he gets on base, and he's got a great.
And not only that, is his glove is still there. Like that's another thing to think about. Like that's why, like what we talked about earlier, before the show with like guys like Eric Hosmer being a 4-time Gold Glover. And it's a big if the guy could just hit, if the guy could prove that he can have consistent ABs and hover around a decent, on base percentage and slugging and all that, his glove is amazing. His glove is great. And his glove would his glove would definitely help Dansby Swanson. Like people don't understand like, oh, anybody can play first base and blah, blah, blah. And those that think that you're just whatever. People don't understand, like Rizzo, for example, and even Hosmer just saved a lot of shortstops from the E6.
You know who they would really help too? A guy like Christopher Morel who struggled with throws at third base.
A guy like that who's still trying to figure it out, a guy that's bouncing around trying to figure out, it's really difficult. Just speaking of Christopher Morel, it's really difficult for a young guy like that to get caught up when he did and not just get called up, but get called up and say, hey, you're our utility guy. We don't have an exact spot for you. We're going to play at second. We're going to play at third. We're going to throw you in at short maybe every now and then. And, then you're going to turn around and you're going to play center field every now and then. And like people don't understand how difficult that is. So like playing those spots in the infield, just the infield, having a guy over at first base that can catch the ball and can catch those, crazy throws that you think are fixing to be, errors and stuff like that. It's a huge confidence boost for that guy. It's a huge game changer. That goes from, you throw a ball over the first baseman's head. We're all human. We've all played. You do that and it just pisses you off. That could change your whole mentality of the game.
Hell yeah, it can.
You know what I mean? Like
you start overthinking it too.
Yeah. So having a guy like that is a major help to all those guys. It's not just he's going to be first base. So he's probably your slowest guy on the team and he probably should hit X amount of home runs and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it's a lot more than that. But, so yeah, like there's options out there. And those two guys aren't the only ones, but it's obvious that there's a hole that's got to be filled, whether it's a third baseman or a first baseman. There's got to be, and I think Jed's got. I think obviously Jed knows that. I think he's got something up his sleeve, and I think we're going to make some kind of move before the season
I've
starts.
been begging for a trade. We've said on this show, what was it, about a month ago now? I don't even know, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I kind of that was like one of my predictions was we're going to see a trade, like a pretty significant acquisition trade, like a buying type of trade from the Cubs, because we haven't really seen one of those lately for a while.
What kind of I guess to bounce off to that and to like, I guess another topic would be, is there anybody you might think that would be and I'm kind of set, we talked about it beforehand, but is there anybody you think if we were to trade as far as pieces that would go?
Who would I trade, or who would I think would be?
I've got one, and I've got a couple. Yeah. And I'm sure they're probably similar. You go ahead, but
no, it's Madrigal is one of them.
Yeah.
And I hate to say, I don't want to be the guy that's just throwing him out to the dirt, right? Like,
let's real quick, like let just his situation. You get traded. Weird. It is. There's nothing, to be honest, there's not a whole lot he can do about it. And it sucks.
Well, he could stay healthy, but there's not much that he can do to. I mean, it's tough.
Like he got hurt. He's had potential. He had all that potential in Chicago with the White Sox, and now arguably your best player on the team, and Nico Hoerner. This is before you get Dansby. You had Nico Hoerner, and it was Nico Hoerner and Nick Madrigal. Well, now you just signed the Gold Glover that just won the Gold Glove for shortstop in the National League. So that guy goes to second. What do you do?
Yeah, you're on the bench mostly. What are you going to be, the least amount of power hitting DH of all time? Like,
yeah, and it's not. He's a contact guy when he hits the ball. He's a singles guy.
I don't mind a guy like that. I don't mind a guy like that on the team.
I don't mind
it
on the
bench. But he plays one position.
He plays one position. Like I know. Let's say he stays on this team till spring training. I'm sure. I'm sure Ross maybe he may give him a couple of games at third base just to see if there's something there. And if not, if he just can continue to hit when he gets his opportunities, which it sucks for a guy, especially when you're playing behind Nico Hoerner and Dansby. Dansby's not going to go out of the game.
No.
And Nico's probably not either, because he's probably set on winning the Gold Glove at second base. It's a difficult spot. So, man, if he could just show early off in the season that, and I know our boy Jake over at with the Dingers podcast, he's a big time Nick Madrigal guy, and I want to. He's an easy guy to get behind because he's shown in the past he can produce quality at bats and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, when you're playing behind those two guys, it's going to be hard. So maybe, who knows? Maybe the first month he showed. Maybe he doesn't even have to. If he can just prove he can stay healthy, maybe we use him as a trade piece, or maybe we use him or a guy like a lot of people like Zach McKinstry. We still got him under control, and he's kind of a guy that's bounced around between second, third, short. And he's a lefty. I know he started off really, really slow when we got him, and then he kind of picked it up. I don't know if maybe he's a guy that we consider keeping or bouncing around. I'm not sure, but between those two guys,
he changes it up with the lefty bat too.
Yeah.
I mean,
and who knows? Maybe we throw in a pitcher like we were talking about before. Maybe we throw in Adbert. Adbert showed he can start in the past, but I think you might agree. I kind of like his role in the bullpen a little better, but maybe he's a guy that is considered in trade talks. But yeah, I would like to see a trade. Depending on who it is and everything like that. But that there's still a couple of moves that need to be made, and I don't know exactly if the free agent market is the way to go.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not the best place to look. Like we could throw out some potential options. I think there's guys that are still interesting on the free agent market. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking for the left-handed like power stroke or on base stroke type of guy, I don't know if that's on the market. Like I really don't know where you're getting that feeling comfortable about it, at least. Yeah. Anyways, like I'll be honest, I don't really want any part of Eric Hosmer. Like you brought up great points about the defense. That kid his power.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
His launch angle. I feel like he's a guy that we're going to be mad about in July or in June. Like all this guy does is hit the ball on the fucking ground and grounds into too many double plays.
I'll be honest. Were we in talks? Okay. So in 2021, when there was rumors of, Rizzo being traded, I know there was a couple of rumors about him going to. Was Rizzo in the rumors for San Diego? Maybe.
I can't remember if Rizzo was, but I know there was a. I mean, there's been multiple trades with Hosmer.
Sometime, sometime
rumors.
There was rumors of us making a trade with the Padres and us getting Hosmer back. And at the time, I wasn't on board with it either because I was in the same boat. I was like, man, this guy is nothing like he was in what was it, 2015 when he was hitting the ball. And
okay, Rizzo, you're right though. Rizzo, there were the rumors, especially leading up to like the actual trade when we got rid of him.
Yeah, and at the time, like
the prospect acquisition to get you get rid of Rizzo, which is a big acquisition for them. Then they unload the contract. Then you get the prospects back, like major pieces back.
And I'll be honest, at the time, I wasn't on board with that because I was like, oh man, Hosmer's just not that guy anymore. And the only thing –
you're not that guy, pal.
Yeah. The only thing about Hosmer right now would be he's probably not going to be that expensive. And I'm not trying to make a case for him because I just – like you said, there's not – I don't know. Like it just – it'd be nice to see him – be what he was, years ago. I don't know if it's there or not. I don't, but I don't know if there is like we're saying, I don't know if there, as far as free agent options right now, I don't know if there's that many to choose from. If and at the same time, if it's even worth it, maybe we platoon guys at first and third, and that's what we do until next offseason when there's a couple other free agents out there that maybe that's what we do.
I don't hate it. Like if you go get one of these guys, you go get one of these guys on the open market this season and you platoon, you switch up Morel, you switch up Wisdom, third base, those two. You switch up Mash, Wisdom, and name the free agent between first base and DH. I'm okay with it. PJ Higgins is still like hovering, could play catcher and first base. Don't love the power that he I don't think
he had a couple clutch moments last year, but other than that, yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat as far as I don't really know about PJ, especially with Tucker being signed.
I honestly, maybe this is going to be a hot take, and I don't think it is a hot take, but I think he starts the year at AAA.
I agree. I can see that.
Because you're going to make another signing here, and what's going to happen is, unless he's a part of a trade too, I could see him being a part of a trade where another team's like, hey. At the same time, I kind of don't really see that because I think we've seen what happens when you don't have catcher depth, and one of these guys is going to get hurt. Like Tucker Barnhart.
We're seeing it right.
Jan,
we kind of saw it this offseason before we signed Tucker Barnhart.
These guys get hurt, man. Catchers, it's a grueling position, and the Cubs have dealt with injuries to that position. Like what happened was it 2021 when everybody got hurt? Like
it was last year.
No,
it was last year. Everybody got hurt last year.
No, but last year they actually had some more consistency as far as they didn't have the revolving door of catchers. 2021, they had 8 catchers.
Yeah, 8 different catchers.
Dude, just I don't think they really want that situation to happen again. So I could see them keeping Higgins at, even if he's not on the active roster, I could see them keeping him at AAA as or even carrying 3 catchers. I don't think that's a terrible thing, but you're talking about very limited roster spots where I don't know. I don't think his offense, I don't really think it's repeatable, I guess. His clutch situations with runners in scoring position, the highest WRC plus on the team, is that repeatable or is that just because the batted ball metrics don't say that it's going to be for him. You know what I mean? That's where I'm
And it's just speaking of not to bounce around too much, but speaking of talking about catchers and Tucker Barnhart.
Yeah, we need to talk Barnhart.
Yeah,
though, for sure.
I don't mind that signing. I don't mind the Tucker Barnhart signing as far as what was left available. And we signed a 2-time Gold Glove Award winner to be our backup catcher, to be a guy that splits games with Yan Gomes.
Sure.
I'll be the first one. If anybody that knows me, I'm not a Cincinnati guy. I'm not a Reds guy. I could give a shit if tomorrow the Reds came out and said,
you could have fooled me. I thought you were a big Cincinnati Reds fan, coming out doing Cub shows all the time.
I get it. They're probably the closest team to my house as far as going to a major league game. But with that being said, as far as a lot of the Cincinnati like media people and coaches and all that, all I've heard is nothing but good things as far as Tucker Barnhart goes. Minus the fact, minus the bat. The bat's not there. But as far as the way he prepares, the way he works with pitchers and everything like that, and just the way he is in the clubhouse, I've heard nothing but good things about that guy. Like everybody has said, like he is great with pitchers as far as like just the preparation. And with us having, we've got a couple of veterans in our, we've got a couple older guys in our lineup, as far as in our rotation. But we also have all these younger guys like, Wes Nasky, even Justin Steele, Caleb Killian and Adbert Alzolay and all these other guys, Keegan Thompson, everybody like, to have somebody like that, and not that Yan Gomes isn't that guy either. Yan Gomes is like that too, but to have, just to add to that, it's not only going to help out, as far as subbing for, Gomes in the catching spot, but it's going to help out your pitching staff. And so, I know everybody was, we were linked, everybody wanted to see, Sean Murphy. Let's get Sean Murphy. Yeah, okay, we didn't get him. And obviously we didn't re-sign Wilson, and then, didn't re-sign or didn't get who else? There was another guy out there that signed with the who was it?
Narvaez.
I mean, you could go on and on and on.
Oh yeah, Vasquez. There was. Yeah,
there wasn't there wasn't a Adley Rushman or a JT Real Muto out there available. So
good luck ever seeing that on the market.
Exactly. So that wasn't a bad. I didn't hate that move, especially like I said, to have a guy with his experience, with his talent as far as behind the plate to come in and sub, and catch probably. I'm sure him and Yan Gomes. I'm sure they'll probably at the end of the season. If they both stay healthy, it'll probably be a mix between both of them. Each catching 80 games. I don't hate it.
I don't either. I honestly, I'm trusting Ross with this too, because for all the reasons that you mentioned, I think Ross had a big part of who's catching. I
guarantee you they asked him before that.
Oh, absolutely. And we've talked about this on previous shows, and I've written a lot of the Wilson Contreras pieces that from this past season, going into like the thought process I've had this entire time of why they don't really want to keep Wilson. And I feel like now it's becoming like a thing. Like people are starting to pick up on they want to go defense first. Mm-hmm. Because it kind of makes sense, right? Like you look at what they're doing all around the field, especially, but this is something that I kind of was like looking at even beforehand, like with Wilson Contreras, where like we've seen it sometimes in games too, where maybe it's not as noticeable, but like he'll pop up out of his crouch. Sometimes his framing stats take a hit because he's trying to backpick somebody at first base. Like Wilson Contreras, he's trying to backpick somebody at first where he could be getting the extra call. He could be getting the frame. It's not just the fact that he's not a great framer and has not been great his entire career for the most part. He's had decent seasons. He can still throw out runners, all that. Great hitter. The pitching and catching relationship, that is huge.
Yeah.
It's sequencing. It's trusting your catcher. It's game planning. It's the game calling. It's understanding, reading batters' tendencies within game, within pitches, like knowing what pitch affects a certain batter in this situation. Oh, I saw he's a little bit late on that. Oh, he's a little ahead of that. You know what? He reacted a little bit weird to this breaking ball. He's probably going to try to look breaking ball now. Let's go ahead and pump that heater up and then go back to the breaking ball because he's not seeing it. He's not picking up that spin. Like certain catchers, and I'm not saying Wilson Contreras doesn't see that totally, but at the same time, I'm not saying that he doesn't see that totally.
Yeah.
Because there are different, like catching has such nuance to it, and it's not like I feel like people they look a little bit too deep into just the framing metrics and the caught stealing percentages and the pop times to second base. Like it's not too extreme to be talking about what we're talking about right now, because I guarantee you these are the types of conversations that front offices and coaching staffs and smart, like we're developing pitching and defense organizations are actually talking about. Like they are not just strictly looking at pop times and framing.
Oh,
I can guarantee you 100%. And
I'll be honest, like
that's more of like a Twitter, like arm side and like, you know, couch analyst type thing.
There's situations where like there's a like in this incidents or whatever you want to call it, whatever that word is. I would give up, like, you know, okay, if you're not going to throw out that many people, you know, I would give all that up as far as pop time and all that stuff if it means you're going to have a better, well-developed relationship with your pitchers, as far as like,
sure, maybe,
you know, and helping those pitchers, you know, maybe just get confidence in themselves and throwing their pitches and all that kind of stuff and develop themselves better. You know, if it means giving some of that up, dude, I'm on board with it, because everybody knows you've got to have pitching. You've got to. And with the way the game is going with the larger bases and all that, all these dudes with crazy pop times and all these, you know, caught stealing numbers and all that, it's all going to change. It's all going to go down. It really is. It's going to go down. I mean, if I had to bet, it's going to go down, because there's going to be more stolen bases and stuff like that. So you know what?
Yeah, with the bigger bags especially, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. So I'll give that up if it means getting a guy that, yeah, he may not have the best pop time in the world or nothing, you know, anything like that. But if he can develop that relationship with the pitching staff and get those guys on board, as far as just the connection with the two, because that goes a long way, man. It's like what you talked about in 2021, having 8 different catchers. That's like
let Jeremiah mentioned it here in the comments. I'm gonna pull it back up. They let Tony Wolters catch some games.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even the worst of the names, probably.
And it's just like people don't understand at any level. Like, and I'm not comparing myself to any of these guys, because I was never good enough to be a major league guy. But just like in college, like you had a catcher that there was at least one catcher that you like throwing to, and then there's guys that you're just like, God, like it's
real though. It's real.
It is. It's so real. And so when you can get look at John Lester and David Ross were just two in the same, like, you know, you couldn't have one without the other. Like as soon as we signed John Lester, it wasn't much longer after David Ross was right after him. It's the same way with look at Wainwright and the way Yachty was. It just is what it is. There's just some of those guys out there that like know how to, and this is no diss to Wilson Contreras, because I'm sure he had a relationship with his guys too. But like,
I spent time ragging on him, but I don't mean to do that. It's
no. But
it's because it's very much a like, you know how you got to have the certain cleats when you go to the ballpark. You got to have how much tape on the bat. It's kind of like the superstition baseball type thing, where even if a catcher gets up out of his crouch when he's supposed to frame, and I don't mean to cut you off, Tyler.
No, you're good.
A catcher gets up out of his crouch when he's supposed to be framing, and he tries to throw out back pick from his knees, the guy at first base. That can throw off a rhythm of a pitcher. It really
can, man. It can.
That's superstition type things too.
Yeah. Like, it's like those catchers know tendencies as far as some of the hitters that they're facing, and they know they know they know your pitches and all that kind of stuff. They know just like the breaks on your pitches, how this certain pitch is gonna break to this guy that's batting, like, and so and with the staff being fairly young, like I can only imagine being a young pitcher being called up and seeing 2 or 3 or 4 different catchers while you're there.
Right.
I mean? It's hard to get it's hard to get comfortable. And so, yeah, I would give up all that. I would say all of it, but I would give up some of that to get a guy like Tucker Barnhart that can develop those relationships. And like I said, this is coming from me just hearing it from a lot of the Reds community saying that like this dude is a very good clubhouse guy. He's a very good team first guy. And yeah, he's not going to hit the ball out of the park all the time, but so what? That's fine. If he can help develop a lot of our young pitchers, I'm good with it.
I'm very much good with it too. Real quick, I'm on my last beer that's here in front of me, and I just want to crack them real fast. So we've made it pretty deep in the show, and I'm on 4 beers just from since we started.
Hell yeah!
It's the holidays, man. It's the holidays. Holiday crack 'em.
Which, speaking of pitchers, I don't know if you want to jump over real quick. Another signing I almost forgot about. Drew Smiley. Speaking of pitchers and catchers.
I want to talk real fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tucker,
sorry.
Only because you're good. It's I feel like last year his numbers took a little bit of a dip defensively as far as framing goes, and maybe even pop time. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember what the numbers said on that, but the framing numbers took a step back. That can be hit or miss, right? That can go up and down, I think, sometimes even for catchers. And I think I would bet money on his framing going back up next season. And I think, like you said, it's more important to develop the pitching. It doesn't really necessarily have to be he has to be the best framer. He has to get the most out of the pitching staff.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen. These young pitchers coming up, they need to get the most out of these young pitchers coming up and make sure they develop. It doesn't really matter how great his framing is. If the guy gets the best out of the pitchers, you're going to get some wicked shit anyways. Like he's going to be weak contact to fielders. You're going to get whiffs, strikeouts, chases out of the zone.
Yeah.
So that's really what's more
important.
And
who's to say us signing him, who's to say that doesn't mean a guy like, I know we've talked about it in the past. I know he's a guy that's been highly touted as far as in our farm system. Who's to say this doesn't mean that maybe Miguel Amaya, maybe he's on his way back. Maybe he's back on track to be that guy that, we people were expecting him to be, 2 years ago. I know he had his surgery. I think he was at, the year before last, and he finally came back last year, close to the end of the year, and now he's I want to say he played in the Arizona Fall League. Who knows? Maybe maybe I don't know. Maybe they see something in him as far as he still has.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think I still have high hopes for him, man. The only thing with him is he hasn't caught I don't think he's actually caught behind the plate again. Gotcha. Since 2021, I think it was May 2021. He's DH though. Like he came back and was raking it when he came back this year. And then he got hurt, I believe, again, or they shut him down. Something happened.
He came back and just hit.
Yeah, he just came back in DH. He was supposed to catch. He was supposed to catch, I want to say, in the fall league.
Yeah.
And then I don't think he did.
So he didn't. Okay.
But if I remember correctly, I think he might be playing in the World Baseball Classic.
Okay.
Not quite sure about that though. Do not quote me on that. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's move on to Smiley though, because we could talk all day about these catchers, and I don't think we're not expecting much out of Barnhart from the plate. No. But like, who gives a shit if he's a quality defensive catcher and that's what they're building the team on at this point? He'll take whatever he can give you offensively, but we know we're taking a hit there for one season, at least offensively behind the plate. Maybe Gomes gives you a little bit more power this year. Who knows? But Drew Smiley, man, they re-upped with him. That was kind of like the big other move. We could touch on the minor moves if you want, like Anthony Kay. You wrote up the piece. Kay was a former first rounder to, I think the Mets didn't draft him.
Yeah,
was it the Mets that drafted him?
The Mets drafted him. He was in their minor league system for like a year and a half, and he was in the deal with Toronto that brought Marcus Stroman to the Mets, and then he ended up going to Toronto.
Absolutely, yeah. He was with Simeon Woods, Richardson, or what was his name? He was also in that deal.
Crap.
Yeah, Stroman, whatever his name is, I forget his name. That's terrible podcasting. We got to check the facts before you check your article. It's probably in your article. But honestly, doesn't matter. I think him, Ronis Elias, the lefty as well. They got two lefties now.
minor league deal for Elias, playing Dominican Winter League ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's played with the Mariners. I think he was with the Nationals in 2019 for a little bit. I don't think he pitched in the postseason. I could be wrong on that when they won the World Series, but kind of got some wicked shit himself. And then you got some, I think he sits like between 93 and 95, I want to say, for Anthony Kay. And I want to say Greg Zumac on Twitter said that he's got like a nice cut ride to him. So I'm really intrigued by that because the Cubs love working with pitchers with cut ride and adding to that and building on that. So I'm really intrigued with that. They also got Nick Neidert. I believe that's how you say his name, the righty from the Marlins.
I didn't even see that one.
Yeah, that was another. I think it was another minor league deal, I believe. And then another pitcher, and then DFA'd Alfonso Rivas. So before we get into Smiley, any like thoughts on those kind of a lot of minor moves, but maybe we'll see something.
A lot of minor moves, but yeah, like I agree. Well, we've got Brandon Hughes as our only lefty in the pen. I know we just got back Braylon Marquez. As far as I know, we DFA'd him, but signed him back, and you want to see him finally develop into that guy that everybody, we've all heard and talked about or whatever. I like the idea of getting another left-handed reliever. And Anthony Kay, he had a couple spot starts, but he was mainly a reliever, and he hasn't really. I don't think he's shown his full potential so far. He hasn't had the best major league career, but at the same time, for the Mets to pick him in the first round as their number one pick, they saw something in him to say, hey, he's our number one pick. Maybe there's something there we can kind of revive, something that maybe he figures something out. We throw him in the pitch lab and maybe figure something out with him. I wish we would go after some veteran lefty guy like we were talking about before, like a Zach Britton or a Scott Alexander or something.
And they still might,
And they still might. I hope they do. But it's a good idea as far as we need some lefty help. And to be honest, not just lefty help, just bullpen help. Period. It's never a bad thing to pick up bullpen guys.
No, it's definitely we're gonna need. I think they at least one more legit solidified type of guy. Maybe not high dollar, but is Chafin still out there?
He's available, yeah. They
gave Dansby Swanson the nickname the Sheriff. A lot of the younger guys gave him the nickname the Sheriff in Atlanta.
Yeah, if we sign him, they're gonna have to,
No, but Dansby said he didn't really like it. He said, He said, I hope they come up with a better nickname than that. But if they start calling me that, whatever. But I'm not trying to lock people up or put them in jail or something like that. I think Chafin, perfect. Get the real sheriff in town. And then Dansby can go. He can go back to like Lieutenant Dan or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Chafin either. But we need another lefty guy. And here's the thing about relief pitchers, man. Like, last year we had a lot of guys that did really well, but it's a roll of the dice. No, it's a roll of the dice with the relief pitchers.
It's
just, you never know what you're going to get, man. Like Keegan Thompson, we were talking about it earlier. Keegan Thompson was awesome last year. Who's to say? I hope not, but who's to say this year's different? Brandon Hughes was awesome for us. Everyday Hughes was great for us. You just never know with relief pitchers. So I like
look at Rowan Wick, man. Wick could come out and dominate this year with that nasty curveball. We don't know.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe Anthony Kay shows up here. It's like the cliche goes, the whole change of scenery cliche. Who knows? Maybe he unlocks something here and figure something out. But with that being said, I know with Kay, we had to DFA Alfonso Rivas. It sucks, you really wanted to root for the guy. But
maybe he sneaks by.
Maybe he does. Maybe he sneaks by and comes back and we re-sign him and he's in the, he starts off with the minors next year. But, it's like looking at his numbers, I think he played just a game under 120 games with us. Not a lot to, you want to, we've talked about wanting a left-handed guy. I don't know if he's the answer. But yeah, maybe we sign him back. Who knows?
We'll see. I definitely don't mind the depth at like first base if you wanted to plug him in and at AAA or something. But like he would need to really improve. I think I liked the fact that they gave him a little bit of a shot. I always kind of thought that they didn't give him as fair of a shot as what it seemed like because they wouldn't play him. There were times where
there was never no consistency with him.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was a lot of consistency with the playing time, and that's one thing that like it seemed like Schwindel got more of a rope than Rivas, which
I think was Schwindel's hot second half from the year before is what kind of like gave him that rope. But I agree, like it's so hard. It's so freaking hard to play that platoon role. We're only gonna play you here and there, and so I agree. Maybe he didn't get a fair shot. I don't
know, but the power's not quite there either. Though,
it's not quite there. And to be honest, between a guy like Rivas or a guy like Matt Mervis, I'd rather just say, "Hey, Mervis, you're getting the call up." Than
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Plus, like his strikeout rate, he wasn't known for striking out a lot in the minors, and he was striking out in the big. So it's like, what happened here, So I don't know. I kind of hope he sneaks through, but hey, it doesn't really like I don't really see him being a key contributor moving forward. So for me, it's like, hey, I'm sorry. I hope he latches on somewhere, if nothing else, and makes a decent career of himself. But I like what you said about Anthony Kay. Maybe they unlock something with him. Definitely something to watch for.
I mean, for him to be a first rounder, maybe.
Yeah, he's a first rounder. Like maybe there's something untapped there. Like he had potential for a reason. Or he's got potential, and he was looked at as that way for a reason. So you don't get involved in a Marcus Stroman trade if you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the time, Marcus Stroman was their ace.
Yeah.
Like he was their dude.
That was before Manoah. That was before Alek Manoah. That was before they got revamped that rotation, really.
So you don't trade that piece without being, at least in their system, a guy, or at least a guy that they think can be somebody special. So
absolutely.
Maybe he figures something out.
But what do you say, Tyler? Meat and potatoes, not meat and potatoes. Like we kind of went all through the meat and potatoes, but I got to hear my name. Beer, cheer, and smiley.
Beer, cheer, and smiley, baby.
Look, I think we need to be cheery and a little bit smiley. Got the smiles going because Drew Smiley's here. He's back.
He's back, man.
I like what he did last year. What do you think, Tyler? What do you think?
I agree, man. Like, to be honest, the fact that he signed for 2 years at 19? It was under 20 million, wasn't it?
What was the exact? It was like 9. Yeah, like 9.
I think it was like 2 years, close to 19 million or something.
But that actually, I didn't recheck that. See what that. I'm gonna look it up right now.
I'm pretty sure it was under 2. It was under 20 million. And with that being said, like with what he did last year, it shows that because you look at people like so Sean Manaea was on the market, and I want to say Sean Manaea is signed for roughly close to like 15 million AAV.
Yeah, he was pretty cheap. Yeah.
Yeah. And so looking at that compared to what Manaea did, and I get it. He had a lot of potential when he was with Oakland and stuff like that. And then you look at a guy like Smiley who was available. It just shows that maybe Smiley, like, the reports were true. Like he wanted to be here. He just really wanted to be here. Maybe.
Oh yeah, he did.
He just felt comfortable with. And in the past, he's shown that he's been a bullpen guy before. He was a bullpen guy with the Braves when the Braves won the World Series. But just coming over here, he, being the starter that he was, like, dude, just. He just felt, I guess he just was confident in what he was doing, and it showed because, man, the guy was a stud last year. Like, he's not going to strike out a ton of guys, but, like, he's going to get outs. He's got a low ERA.
19 point,
and he goes far. He's gone far in games, too. I want to say he had, like, a lot of starts this year of, like, 6+ innings, which is what you want from a guy like that. And a veteran. Another lefty in the rotation with Justin Steele. So yeah, man, I like it. I'm glad he's back. I think it's like what we talked about before, like what a few episodes ago, as far as what we needed. We needed another piece. We needed another arm in the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of like what the Cubs thought they were going to get with Wade Miley, where
Yeah.
Miley, he works really fast, and he was pretty solid when he was healthy too.
Yeah, when he was healthy, he wasn't bad. He was actually pretty good.
No, yeah, but the guy that was like healthier or like stayed healthy more or longer was Drew Smiley, and 19 million for 2 seasons at 9.5 per season, and then the 3rd-year option is what they got him for. So he really threw a lot of curveballs, man. Like he it seems like he decreased the sinker usage and went with a lot more breaking balls. At least last year, like really heavy breaking ball. And that kind of led to even more success. I feel like that's something the Cubs like really wanted to work with him on. I don't know. It definitely, like, you could see some results though. Like he got a lot of weak contact.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like a ton of ground balls. Like I think he didn't. I think he had more fly balls, or percentage wise, like above league average was like fly ball percentage, more than like the ground ball percentage. But weak contact, like it wasn't like a ton of like hard contact. And he's not a big strikeout guy, but what do you care if he's going to give you 6 innings of quality pitching? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Whatever, get outs. Like, we've talked about it on the show many times. Ron said it a bunch of times. Just get outs. Who gives a fuck? Just get outs. That's it.
Like, other than him, I mean, I know there was a few. There was a couple other options we talked about. I know people have, I was on the Nathan Eovaldi, Michael Wacha, Johnny Cueto, all those guys. But like Smiley, with Drew Smiley, you know what you're getting. He was a sure thing for us. So I'm perfectly fine with it. At just 33 years old, I think he'll be 34 in the middle of next year. But it just 33, 34 years old, basically a 2-year deal with an option at for a 3rd year. That's not a bad contract, especially he got that for under 20 million or for under 10 million a year. Like that, to be honest, that's kind of a steal.
It could be,
but I guess he's comfortable where he's at, and I don't know, maybe he saw something with Chicago, and he's just like, I want to stay here, I want to be here, and maybe. Or maybe he just saw it as an opportunity. Hey, I'm going to be able to start here every 5th day. Maybe he took that and was like, here we go. And if that's the case, fine. I'm fine with Drew Smiley, in our rotation. No matter, whoever else is in the rotation, I'm fine with Drew Smiley and one of the starting 5.
Hell yeah, man. Really quickly, we are almost on an hour and a half talking. Can you even believe we talked for like 45 minutes before we even came on here about Cubs baseball?
Oh, I can believe it now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe it.
Jesus Christ, we're idiots. But, it's awesome. It's always great talking to you, Tyler. We need to wrap it up. Oh, I love what Jeremiah said here. I just cracked a Mountain Dew. We're talking about cracking beer, holiday cheer. Jeremiah's cracking Mountain Dew. So
hell yeah, man.
We appreciate all the comments. And you guys jumping in as always. Jeremiah and the rest of you. Ron, everybody that jumped in here. But, man, honestly, dude, give me like your real quick like final thoughts, and then also give me like your prediction real fast.
Thoughts, my
prediction
of my Christmas list or whatever, maybe. Oh, my
or whatever you want. Yeah, whatever you want.
Final thoughts. We gotta have it. I really expect us at least, if anything, I think we're gonna sign another bullpen guy, and I hope it's a lefty. To be honest, I would love. I hope it's Zach Britton. I really do. I hope we sign Zach Britton. I know people are going to say, "Oh man, he's a lot of money," blah blah blah. But here's the thing with Zach Britton. I put Zach Britton in the same boat as David Robertson, Michael Gibbons, Chris Martin, all them. Like if he, you know what, yeah. Last year. Don't look at his stats from last year, because last year only pitching like 2 games and his ERA was like 13 or something stupid. Dude has proved to be a all-star caliber relief pitcher, But at the end of the day, if we're not where we want to be by the trade deadline, you can turn around and just use them as a trade piece or whatever. But final thoughts as far as like that, yeah, I expect us to sign a bullpen arm and at least figure something out on the corners, whether that's signing a first baseman or a third baseman. Man, it's like I'll be fine with whoever we sign as long as I guess as long as it makes sense. I know that sounds stupid, but
yeah, I know.
But the thing is, you
it
can
has
make
to
an
sense,
you can
yeah.
make an argument for all these guys we've talked about available. Like, I hope we sign somebody, at least somebody, to fill that void. If it's me, like, I want a lefty, but it's not going to kill me if it's not a lefty. But man, like, I'll be honest, I didn't even think about the guy until like I said, I'll say it again, as far as our boy Jake over at the Dingers podcast, with Yandy Diaz, as far as his age and versatility, I wouldn't mind that signing at all. And at the same, that dude is jacked, by the way.
Mhm.
So just imagine him in a freaking Cubs uniform, man, just busting out the sleeves and hitting dingers at Wrigley. Same thing with Luke Voigt.
And then sign the Franimal.
And then that's it. We didn't even
Imagine
bring
those-
up. We didn't even bring him up. And
Dude,
they
imagine
went
that
another-
dude with the big,
Yeah.
like,
But
Yeah.
I just hope they sign somebody, as long as I just hope they sign somebody as far as a first baseman or a third baseman. I don't care who. I don't mean, I guess I don't mean to say I don't care who, but like, I just hope they at least sign somebody to a short deal contract, because I feel like next offseason, the market for third baseman is going to be big. And so I just hope we get somebody to fill the void then, from then to till then.
fill the void, Luke Voigt.
Hey, I'll be honest, I'd be fine with Luke Voigt.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Be
kidding.
fine
Hey,
with it.
I'm fine with it too, though. I already mentioned that, and I think I don't really care. I'll have to see it. I'll have to see it. Just show me which one. Show me what
Yeah.
you're doing. Like, show me what you're doing. And if I don't like it, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say I don't like it, or if I like it or not. But
Yeah. And
show me.
also, as
I'll
far
be
as I
patient.
guess final thoughts, it's not breaking news, but it's potential breaking news. The meter of me going to CubsCon just like moved closer to me going. So hopefully we can
the
get that
Richter,
going.
you gotta you started low.
The
and then-
Richter scale has moved closer to me going, to the point where I've started, making plans, and I hope it works out.
Let's
because,
go.
dude, it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. I think the Preds are in town one of those nights. I think the Bulls are in town one of those nights. So you got CubsCon, and then you got Bulls and Predators. Dude, it'd be a fun weekend. So
Hell yeah.
there's a strong chance that I will be there.
Well, I mean, dude, and if anybody's watching, listen to this, you already know me, Juice, Ron, we should be there as well. So now you might have all 4 members of Cubs on Tap, at least as far as the podcasting side goes.
And rumor has it that I think some of the Dinger guys are coming too.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah,
So maybe we can all hopefully we can all. I mean, if they're
Yeah,
going,
we're gonna
of
be
course
getting
we're
together.
all going to get together for sure. So hopefully
Absolutely.
that happens.
it's happening. It's happening. Throw the sign up. But we got to get out of here, Tyler. We've been up here
Damn,
an hour and 33. Yeah, it's too long. It's too long. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry
For
Christmas,
those
happy holidays, everybody.
that celebrate, I celebrate. Doesn't matter if you do or not, but happy holidays nonetheless to whatever you celebrate. Hopefully you have a good one. Enjoy it with family. Whatever you choose to do. If you just want to be lazy, if you just want to eat food, whatever you want to do. Hopefully it's a good one. Be safe.
Stay warm. Too.
Yes.
Good. Go. We said at the same time.
Same time, dude.
If you
I'm
don't
freezing.
have, if you don't have to be outside, don't be outside. If you don't have to travel, don't be traveling. This time of year, this time when it gets all shitty outside and stuff like that, like there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to drive. If you're one of those people,
especially when it snows for the first time.
Don't even think about even looking at your car right now. Just stay home. Stay inside.
Don't even dust it off.
Don't even.
start it.
It's like what is it? The Hangover meme. Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Go on. Go back inside. Like to stay away from it.
I
But
like
yeah,
it.
everybody stay safe out there.
Dude, I literally I went out and got the garbage. Brought the garbage out last night and then went out and got the garbage today.
Yeah,
And both times I came back inside like, oh,
dude, it's
like my hand. I'm not wearing gloves to go get the garbage. Like
Yeah.
it's not like I'm staying outside for a while. Like my hand it's redder than like the
Oh, dude,
rawest of meat.
Yeah, it's freaking miserable right now.
It's bad. It's bad. So it feels like I don't know, like negative 30 or something. Anyways, stay warm. That's pretty much the point of it. We got to get out of here. Follow at Cubbies on Tap on Twitter. Follow at OnTapSportsNet or at OnTap Sports on all social media platforms. OnTapSportsNet.com, all your Chicago sports needs, wants, all that. Tyler's at Teddy Freddy 270. I'm at Joey Knows Nothing. Ron is at Loose on Tap. Juice is at Juice on Tap. We've got all the other great contributors here at Cubs on Tap. I do not memorize the handles. Next time I will have the handles if I'm hosting the show. Ron is way better at that stuff. Anyways, till next time, we're out of here. Tyler, what do you say we get out of here? Get out of here. The only way we know how to do everything.
You like Christmas music? I got you one for you. Fa la 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 la. Fuck the Cardinals.
Let's go, Cubbies.